So I was looking through this money game session, just looking at my mistakes, and I came across this double five, and I thought this illustrates a concept quite well. And I don't know whether it has a name already, but I think it's a concept that most people know, at least intuitively, and that's of cube preservation. In other words, making a play such that after your opponent plays his subsequent dice roll, you will then still have a cube in most sequences. Um, and the initial position is this, and I made the play that tries to go for the throat, and that's an inclination I've always had since I first started playing seriously, which was to sort of go for a gammonish position. It's something I've had to wean myself off um, as I've uh, played a bit more, and that play that I made says it's about a 56 error, so it's quite a sizable error. But more importantly, the concept. So if I show you what that play is, making a 4-point board. So coming in, hitting, and making a 4-point board. And this is how it looks after the play. Now, we know that on a 4-point board, our opponent fans 16 times out of 36. If he does fan, it's a pass. So we're very happy when he fans. But what about when he doesn't fan? So seeing that he only fans 16 times, which is about 44%, something like that, we certainly do want to consider the variations where he doesn't fan and where that leaves us. Um, and in this position, obviously the hits are bad. The double one, double fours, the 4 1s, and that accounts for another 4 numbers, and we're up for 20. But actually, the numbers that we should really consider here are the numbers, the sort of the intermediary or intermediate numbers, and they're not the fanning numbers which wipe you out, or the other end of the spectrum, which actually might even put you a 50-50 chance or maybe slight favourite. They're the intermediate numbers, the numbers that let's say they're going to account for the dice roll a sizable percentage of the time. And in this sequence, after you roll double five, they're numbers that come in with the ace. So we're looking at 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 5, and 1, 6. So that's 8 numbers already. And then we're looking at 4, 3. That makes the 21. That's 10 numbers. And then there's 4, 5, which is an interesting hybrid. And what I mean is that if your opponent rolls a 4-5, well, you're not so distraught that you've made this play, which strews, is that the word? The present indicative to strews 4 checkers around the board. So that's not quite, I wouldn't quite class it as one of those intermediary rolls. So before having a jerky knee and making the 4-point in his face and thinking, oh, this is strong, what we really need to consider are those intermediary numbers that I mentioned. And it just so happens, it's convenient that I sort of noticed this idea, but he did roll one of these numbers. And when he does come in with the 1-6, you're much better off having made the alternative play, which is here in my other copy of XG. So you give him a 1-6, in this variation, and he'll play bar 24, 13, 7, and now you're on roll, and you cube. First of all, let's click double action, see what happens. And it actually evaluates it on XG Plus as a small pass. So which is another way of saying that we must be very happy that with this play as opposed to making the 4-point board play, because if he comes in with an ace and we haven't even made a 4-point board, then we must be doing a lot better with this play than with the other play. And in fact, if I go back to the equity after the 1-6 on this play, we'll see that it's 0.74, so it's an enormous difference of 250. And this is what I think accounts for the bulk of the factors which make making the 3-point such a poor play. This anchoring with your opponent and how you're going to sort of push up your equity after you double. And you notice it's still a double even after you do make the wrong play, the 3-point play. But we saw that it was, if we make the other play and he comes in with an ace-6, then it's going to be a pass. Now, what else is there to say about this? I just wanted to go into this dice distribution feature of XG, and you press Control, Alt, and D, or go to the menu up here, I can't remember, and you'll find it. So Control, Alt, and D all together, and it comes up with the equities for each of the dice rolls. And what we will do is we'll put our opponent in the air so put him on roll before he rolls the 1-6, and then what we will do is we'll see what the average equity is and what the subsequent equities are. We need to put him on roll. That's important because otherwise we have white's equities. And we see that these are all highlighted to show that these are the numbers that fan. But on this evaluation, using the dice distribution, and perhaps it's because it's only 1 ply or 2 play, it seems to evaluate anything else as a take. But as we know with plus, I think it changes its mind. But notice here that the average equity is like 0.8067. And that's before the dice roll. So what that's telling you is that after I make my play, blue's equity is 0.8 before knowing what he rolls. And after my play, it's 0.75. So that accounts for the 50 error. So instead of having 800, which we would have had, we have 750. Now I don't know if I said this at the beginning because I can't remember, but I thought of calling this concept something like merging the sequence or merging the dice roll, because when you're on roll here, or just after you've rolled the double 5, what you should be thinking is, what sequence of dice rolls can there be such that I give myself the highest possible equity? And so you look at your double 5 in the light of your opponent's return numbers, and that's all I've done throughout this whole sort of analysis. Is I played my double 5 looking at what my opponent might roll after I play my candidate double 5 moves. And to summarize, what I thought was the critical factor here was not so much the hit backs, because you get hit back with both variations, but it was more the numbers that come in, the intermediary numbers, and that you're far better off when you've made the clearing play, clearing the 11 in that variation, than when you've just got 4 blots strewn about the board. I hope that was clear enough. If anyone's got any comments, please leave them on the YouTube channel. That'd be fantastic. Please like the video. That'd be also great. And I'm just trying to make more content, trying to sort of make something which is not just valuable for everyone else, but also something that I find genuinely consolidates my knowledge and helps me, and something that I find is a valuable use of time for me. All right, thank you for watching.